Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses like that verse because they think that's a verse that shows you that you have to work out your salvation. And what I believe it says is that this is the path you're walking down that God has appointed for you. So you got to walk in obedience with God. True wisdom recognizes some things are an abomination to God. Defining the word abomination. Boy, when was the last time you heard this word? Something which is worthy of causing loathing or hatred. Something which is detestable. In other words, true wisdom understands that there are things which God hates with a loathing disgust. That one would not be wise in his or her relationship with God if they continued in things described as an abomination. And there's some.
Abortion's a good example.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some things in our society that we have been politically corrected to not use this word for. It's a word that if you say it, you're hateful. You're a hate monger. I didn't say it, God said it. That's why in Canada they can't talk like this on the radio. They can't say these things on the radio. Certain things they can't talk about, preachers. You can see where we're going. Some things which are abomination to the Lord. 7 are listed in Proverbs 6:16. Oh, come on. Let's see. 6:16. Here we are. I was just looking at 6:5. It says, "Free yourself like a gazelle from the hands of the hunter, like a bird from the snare of the fowler." And then he goes on to describe 6:16. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable or an abomination to him. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, abortion, feet that are quick to rush to evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a man who stirs up dissension among the brethren. So, haughty eyes, pride, you think you're better, you look at someone, you look down, you're judgmental. A lying tongue. Some people don't even know they're lying. It's just so acceptable to them. They don't even know they're doing it. And you just sit there and you can't believe what they're saying. And it's just, it's a lie, and the minute you try to challenge anything, it's like you get attacked. Hands that shed innocent blood. Look at the abortion. 60 million babies killed. Now they want to legalize for nurse practitioners and PAs to perform the procedures. The consequences of abortion are just so impacted. Breast cancer with women, depression with women. It's just things that science and the medical field, mental health field don't want to adjust. They don't want to acknowledge they're true. The evil that comes out of it, a heart that devises wicked schemes. Someone contemplating bad things, wicked, to bring someone down. Feet that rush to evil. I mean, look at these riots that we have and how people are beating on someone, everybody runs into it, and they can't wait to get in there and get their kicks in or beat on someone. It's just a riot or looting or things that happen today in our society. A lot of this we're not even seeing. That's in the news. They're not showing it. A false witness who pours out lies. I don't know if you've been in a situation in work or whatever that you work with someone, and they will lie about you or say things about you, especially as a Christian. And you got to remember who the accuser is. Who is the one always accusing us? It's the devil. It's Satan. He's the one, the big accuser. And a man who stirs up dissension among the brethren. All right, we're the brethren. You know, God hates a man who comes into a church and just tries to stir up a lot of problems. And there are people like that. They just go from church to church, you know, and they just make trouble. You know, avoid them.
Some people take great pride in it.
They do.
They take great pride. Boy, did I get him upset. You see how nervous he was? Or she was. You know, they left crying. Oh, I got him.
The Bible has very specific ways to address problems. And if you know, there's a problem with a brother, and God has a way of dealing with that. But some people think with their haughty eyes, their lying tongues, that they're there to correct other people. I'm sure in work or whatever, people run into that. You have someone that just feels they're there longer than you, they know more than you, and they're better than you. So, a lying tongue, things that are abomination, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked, feet that are swift to anger, and running to evil, quick to do evil rather than good, a false witness who speaks lies and thus perverts justice, one who sows discord among the brethren. Other abominations to the Lord are false weights, by which others are cheated. There's a lot of ways, false weights. It's just not false weights. It's cash registers that are bring up things wrong. I can remember we went on a mission trip up to Canada, and on the border of Canada, they had different restaurants or things to buy, and if you weren't careful and had a pocket calculator or a cell phone that could do the calculations, they were trying to chip you when you bought things in Canada with the conversion rate of $1. You know, so people will benefit by these things. You know, the stock market, cooking the books, you know, all these things.
Hey Mike, just out of curiosity and following the money trail, if they made nurse practitioners and PAs able to do abortions, is there more money to be made, more money happening in that?
Well, not really. They just want to make it, they'll be reimbursed. See, the way it's designed right now, it's you and I, our tax dollars are paying for abortion. Yeah. This is something new in the last 2 years. Well, no, we had money going to Planned Parenthood, but now it's more overt, where they can actually run clinics where they can do this procedure. It's a very complex procedure. You know, I mean, I had a woman come into the emergency room once that she was in her 30s and she was bleeding out. And I was very busy, very busy. Her blood pressure was like in the 50s. And I just shipped her up to the OR, and I never followed up on how she was. But we used to see a lot of posts, they used to call them VIPs, voluntary interruption of pregnancy. And there's a lot of complications. So I think there's a lot of hazards now with doing this procedure. Punctured uteruses, you know, damage where women can't give birth again. You know, it's just all covered up for expediency, you know, and even this dissident that was, you know, in the American embassy, the Chinese man, he was protesting forced abortions in China. It was in the news. And how they booted him out of the embassy, and he said the Chinese government was trying to kill him because he was speaking out against forced abortions and sterilization in China. The one-child policy. And this administration favored the Chinese and had him expelled from our embassy. And this man said he was in grave fear of his life, that he'd be killed by the Chinese for speaking out against this policy. Come in here, folks. Another thing that is an abomination to God is a king committing wickedness. Proverbs 16.
Or a president.
Yeah, a ruler. 16. And there are wicked kings. Wicked, what do they mean wicked? I mean, they're not following God's precepts. They don't know the Lord. They know the world, and they know power. Kings detest wrongdoing, for a throne is established through righteousness. It's got a lot of verses right after that as far as what's a good king and what isn't. Understand these things that are which God detests and loathes,